Well, I can hardly wait to put forth all the evidence we have collected on Dominion, starting with the fact it was created to produce altered voting results in Venezuela for Hugo Chavez, and then shipped internationally to manipulate votes for purchase in other countries, including this one. It was funded by money from Venezuela and Cuba, and China has a role in it also. So if you want to talk about foreign election interference, we certainly have it now. We have staggering statistical evidence. We have staggering testimony from witnesses, including one who was personally in briefings when all of this was discussed and planned, beginning with Hugo Chavez and how it was designed there, and then saw it happening in this country. As soon as the state shut down on election night and stopped counting, those are the states where the most egregious problems occurred. We also need to look at, and we're beginning to collect evidence on the financial interests of some of the governors and secretaries of state who actually bought into the Dominion systems, surprisingly enough. Hunter Biden type graft to line their own pockets by getting a voting machine in that would either make sure their election was successful or they got money for their family from it. Well, for fraud this serious, I think even if the states are stupid enough to go ahead and certify the votes where we know the machines were operating and producing altered election results, if they're stupid enough to do that, then they will be set aside by the fraud also. I mean, we are talking about hundreds of thousands of votes. President Trump won this election in a landslide. It's going to be irrefutable, and patriots are coming forward every day, all day, faster than we can collect their information with the testimony they're willing to give under oath about how their votes were stolen and how the machines operated. They were updated the night of the election, sometimes after the election. We've got statistical evidence that shows hundreds of thousands of votes being just put in and replicated. It's going to be, there needs to be a massive criminal investigation, and it's going to affect millions of voters and elections.
With these allegations, these charges, is the FBI already carrying out an investigation of these voting companies where their servers are domiciled? And in at least three instances, we know they're in foreign countries. Tell us where the Justice Department is in all of this.
I wish I knew. I'm not on the inside, so I'm not privy to that information. I know that even Democratic senators and congresspeople for years have reported problems with this system to the FBI and to the government, and nobody's done a blooming thing about it. The people in the election security part of Department of Homeland Security need to be fired yesterday. They're absolutely ridiculous. Of course, Chris Wray needs to be fired too, because the only FBI interview of any witness was to intimidate him and try to get him to change his truthful testimony 4 hours by an anti-Trump FBI agent. They still have politics infecting the FBI instead of just following the law. We are on the precipice of, this is essentially a new American revolution. And anybody who wants this country to remain free needs to step up right now. These are federal felonies. Altering a vote or changing a ballot is a federal felony. People need to come forward now and get on the right side of this issue and report the fraud they know existed in Dominion voting systems, because that's what it was created to do. It was its sole original purpose. It has been used all over the world to defy the will of people who wanted freedom.
Representative Louis Gohmert is now saying Dominion voting system servers were seized overseas in Germany by the U.S. military.
Seidel, that's a place where all of this information was cycling through. Not supposed to, but it was. And actually, there was a German that, as I was told, there was a tweet in German from Germany that the U.S. Army had gone in and seized the Seidel server. They're going through bankruptcy right now. So there's all kinds of games being played. And I had suggested that the president might get information from Seidel and the next day before, and I sent him specifics that he needed to get that would show a lot of fraud. And the next day before that information could be gotten, somebody ordered the U.S. Army, according to the tweet, to go in and seize the server. There are people involved inside the government that have been trying to take this president down, State Department, Intel community, and FBI, and also.
So here's what we know so far about Skydle. Did the US raid European software company Skydle and seize their servers in Germany? Company refutes claims. Skydle is a Barcelona-based company that provides electronic voting systems worldwide, many of which have been proven vulnerable to electronic manipulation. Skydle has, or had, Soros and Democrat Party connections. Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's Vulcan Capital has invested $40 million in Skydle. Tonight we learned from our source that Bill Gates also owns stock in Skydle. Representative Louis Gohmert had to say about the alleged raid earlier today. I already showed you that video. Tonight we heard more from our source on this raid in Germany. The US government, once they have determined that the Dominion server was involved in switching votes, then the intelligence community began a search for the server and discovered that that server was in Germany. In order to get access to that server and have it available for use in a legal manner, they had to have the State Department work in tandem with the Department of Justice. They had to request that this government of Germany cooperate in allowing the seizure of this server. The appropriate documents required to effect that kind of seizure were put in place, signed off on, and it appears there was also U.S. military support in this operation. The U.S. military was not in the lead, but this helps explain why Esper was fired and Miller and Kash Patel were put in place, so that the military would not interfere with the operation in any way. By getting a hold of the server, they now are going to have the direct evidence of when they were instructed to stop counting the votes. They will also discover who gave the direction to stop counting and who initiated the algorithm that started switching votes from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. The CIA was completely excluded from this operation because obviously they are compromised and are working for Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. Lynn Wood, an attorney for Trump, said this: Biden and his criminal cronies are not going to sleep well tonight. Well, Biden might, because he probably forgot about the name Skydle. His co-conspirators knew the name very well. They also knew the name Paragon, company which purchased Skydle in October of 2020. Everything will be revealed. So it's going to be interesting to see what information they find off those seized servers and how many votes were truly switched from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. I believe that number could be in the millions of votes that were switched electronically from Donald Trump to Joe Biden.